Have you ever felt trapped in a story that isn't yours? A story written by others, where you're defined by what you haven't done rather than what you've achieved. They say you failed, you gave up, you're not good enough. But what if failure isn't the end, but the beginning of a greater journey? Imagine a moment when the spotlight suddenly shines on you not because you begged for it, but because the truth you quietly built has found its own voice. This is the story of Emily Carter, a 32-year-old woman abandoned by her family and the world, yet who silently changed the lives of millions. Don't look away from the screen, because this story will make you wonder, am I missing something in my own journey? Let's dive in, because the most miraculous things often bloom from the quietest corners. Hit the subscribe button and join me on Emily's journey, a story you won't be able to stop reading. Emily Carter, 32, lives in a small apartment in Portland, Oregon, where the aroma of roasted coffee blends with the scent of old paper from the bookstore below. Her apartment is simple but cozy, with a scratched wooden table and a bookshelf overflowing with books on technology and psychology. Every morning, she brews coffee with an old machine, pays her bills on time, and lives a life her family calls a failure. Emily was once the hope of the Carter family. Her father, Robert, a prominent lawyer, proudly boasted that his daughter would become a surgeon. Her mother, Helen, an event planner, had mapped out Emily's future from childhood, a prestigious medical school, marriage to a successful man, and a big house in the suburbs. Her younger brother, Daniel, 4 years her junior, always lived in her shadow until she fell. In her third year of medical school, Emily broke down. Not because of a mistake or a scandal. The fire inside her simply went out. Endless nights of studying, 36-hour shifts, and the weight of her family's expectations crushed her. She remembers one night, sitting in the library at 3 a.m., staring at an anatomy book, unable to read a single line. Who am I in all of this? She asked herself. A week later, she packed her bags, left the dorm, and returned to Portland. Emily's decision to drop out was like a time bomb in her family. Her father didn't speak to her for a year, communicating only through cold glances. Her mother cried in the living room, repeating that Emily was just taking a break. Daniel, her brother, quickly became the new hope. With an MBA from the University of Oregon and a job in investment banking, he became the golden son. Daniel's fiancée, Sarah Thompson, a Yale-educated lawyer, was the perfect daughter-in-law her mother always dreamed of. Emily was pushed to the sidelines. At family gatherings, she sat at the corner of the table, listening to stories of Daniel's success. Daniel just got promoted, her mother bragged. And Emily, she's finding her way. Those words cut like knives, but Emily learned to stay silent. She didn't want to argue or explain. She just wanted to find herself again. To make ends meet, Emily took odd jobs. One day, she helped her 78-year-old neighbor, Martha, send an email to her grandson in Florida. With silver hair and sparkling eyes, Martha grabbed Emily's hand and said, "Girl, you've brought the world closer to me." That moment was like a spark. Emily realized that technology, which the world used to connect, was leaving people like Martha behind. She began teaching seniors in her neighborhood how to use smartphones and computers. One-on-one lessons at a local coffee shop grew into small classes at the library. Emily didn't just teach skills, she taught confidence, connection, and self-respect. An 85-year-old man named Harold called computers devil boxes, but after 3 weeks, he was video calling his daughter in Texas. "You're a miracle," he told her, and Emily smiled, feeling a piece of her heart heal. From these small lessons, Emily came up with the idea for an online platform called ElderConnect. Its goal was to help people over 65 master technology, from sending emails and video calling to protecting themselves from online scams. She worked with a small team, 2 young programmers, Mia and Ethan, and a volunteer, Clara, a retired teacher. They designed a senior-friendly interface with features like screen readers, voice controls, and large fonts. Emily spent nights researching user experience, UX, learning to design interfaces for people with poor eyesight or motor difficulties. She devoured every resource on inclusive technology, from academic papers to Reddit forums. ElderConnect wasn't just a platform, it was a promise that no one would be left behind in the digital world. ElderConnect launched with just 50 users, mostly Martha and Harold's friends. But from there, it spread quickly. A public library in Portland contacted Emily to offer online classes. A community center in Idaho invited her to host a workshop. Within a year, ElderConnect had 10,000 users, mostly through word of mouth. One story Emily will never forget is about Ruth, an 80-year-old woman from Montana. Ruth emailed her, "I never thought I could book a plane ticket online. Yesterday, I did it. Next month, I'm flying to New York to see my granddaughter. Thank you, Emily, for giving me wings." Emily printed that email and taped it to her wall as a reminder that her work mattered. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Emily faced countless challenges: lack of funding, technical glitches, and competition from bigger companies. A Seattle startup tried to copy her idea, but they didn't understand seniors' needs like Emily did. She and her team worked tirelessly, sometimes sleeping only 4 hours a night. Some days, Emily wondered if she could keep going. Once, when ElderConnect's server crashed before a major online workshop, Emily nearly gave up. But Mia, the young programmer, stayed up until 3 a.m. fixing it. "We are not doing this for money," Mia said. "We are doing it for Ruth, Harold, and everyone waiting for us." Emily wiped her tears, stood up, and kept going. Everything changed one autumn evening when Emily received a video through ElderConnect's Stories of Connection campaign. In the video, Sarah Thompson, Daniel's fiancée, sat with her grandmother, Eleanor, and shared how ElderConnect helped Eleanor overcome loneliness after losing her husband. "Thanks to ElderConnect, my grandma can video call us every week. She even learned to order groceries online. It brought her smile back," Sarah said, her voice choking. At the end, Eleanor looked into the camera. "Thank you, Emily Carter. You made me feel alive again." Emily was stunned. Sarah didn't know she was Daniel's sister. She only knew ElderConnect through its impact on her family. Emily watched the video 3 times, feeling like a door had opened. She didn't tell her family but kept the video as a reminder that her work mattered. Daniel and Sarah's engagement party took place at a fancy restaurant in downtown Portland. Emily attended, wearing a sapphire blue dress, not flashy, but enough to say she was no longer a shadow. She sat at the end of the table, listening to speeches about Daniel the Golden Son. No one mentioned her, except for a passing comment from her mother, Emily's, into some freelance stuff. Then Sarah turned to Emily and asked, "What do you do, Emily?" The table fell silent. Emily smiled softly. "I run a platform called ElderConnect that helps seniors master technology." Sarah gasped. "Wait. ElderConnect? You're Emily Carter." She turned to the table. "You guys don't understand. This platform changed my grandmother's life. I sent them a testimonial video without knowing Emily was Daniel's sister." Her father stared at his wine glass. Her mother opened her mouth, then closed it. Daniel blurted, You never said anything." Emily shrugged. "You never asked." Sarah continued, "Emily, did you know ElderConnect was mentioned in a TED Talk? They called you a pioneer in inclusive technology." For the first time, Emily felt the spotlight on her, because the truth had found its way to the light. After the party, Emily's family began to change. Her mother sent a handwritten letter, admitting she was wrong for not asking about Emily's work. "I was too focused on what you left behind to see what you were building," she wrote. Daniel texted an apology for underestimating his sister. But Emily didn't need those apologies to feel whole. She had found her worth through ElderConnect's users. ElderConnect kept growing. Through Sarah's introduction, the platform received funding from a major foundation, expanding to Canada and the UK. Emily was invited to speak at tech conferences, from small auditoriums to major stages like Google I/O. She never boasted, but she no longer hid herself. An email from a 95-year-old user in Maine moved her deeply. "I learned to use YouTube with ElderConnect. Now I watch cooking videos and bake for my grandkids. Thank you for giving me a reason to wake up every morning." Emily printed that email and taped it to her fridge, a reminder that her light had reached places she never imagined. But success didn't come easily. Emily faced pressure from investors to commercialize ElderConnect, turning it into a profit-driven company. She firmly refused, staying true to its mission. Meanwhile, a data breach forced her and her team to work around the clock to protect users. These challenges forged Emily into a stronger leader. At Daniel and Sarah's wedding, Emily wore a navy jumpsuit, confident and radiant. Her mother introduced her to friends. "This is Emily, my daughter. She runs a platform that changes lives." It wasn't a perfect compliment, but it was a start. Standing under twinkling lights, Emily realized she didn't need recognition to feel enough. She had built her own light, bright enough to guide millions. Emily Carter's story is about finding meaning in small things, about persevering when the world says you've failed. And most importantly, it's about letting the truth find its way to the light. Where are you watching from? Leave a comment and share how this story inspired you. If you believe in quiet victories and the power of perseverance, hit the subscribe button. Your story is waiting to be told, and I hope to join you on that journey. Thank you for being here. Keep shining in your own way.